build up her self-confidence by tricking her mind into her desired weights. So she will have to like get a scale, then weigh herself, and then determine the kind of weight she wants. And there's a scientific way of knowing the kind of weight that would be good for you, and that's body mass index.
Yes, the BMI.
Yeah. So when you get to measure that, then the normal ratio is between 18 to 24 or whatever. So you now weight in kilogram over or divided by height in squared. So when you get the desired weight or the desired BMI, then you can easily like try and replace that weight with your desired weight, and then once you get a value that is within the normal range, then you know, okay, this is my desired weight, and then you can now trick your mind into saying this is the kind of weight I have, and then start building your confidence from there. Then I also asked her to avoid junks, and she said, "What's junk?" I said, "Anything that is not a balanced diet." And then I also asked her to get herself involved in exercises, and then go maybe join a gym house. She said she's not allowed to go out. So I said she can easily walk around her house or walk within her own compound.
Early morning walk.
Yeah. It helps a lot.
I often take evening walks because
Really?
I'm busy in the morning. Yeah, I do evening walks.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So last year, I had a bit of a weight problem as well. So I'm saying it's a problem now, but my people around me are like, you were the only person seeing it. We don't see it.
I can't even imagine.
So and then I early this year I embarked on it, like I'm going to drop it. And to be honest, I have come a very long way. I have dropped a lot of it. I've dropped a lot of that weight.
Wait, there's that video I saw. yeah. Okay, I can that picture.
I've dropped a lot of it. I don't have a lot of that weight anymore.
Okay.
And it just came with the mindset that look, I'm not doing this anymore. So I diet, walks.
Yeah.
I try to do the gym, but it's a bit tedious for me, and I'm not really a fan of going to work out with other people. So but I walk. Yeah. I walk a lot. So because of where I live, it's easy for me to like map out a routine and I go on it.
And I still walking. I even crack jokes like you can even walk from here to Lagos. If you walk from here to Lagos, walk back.
Do you know that yesterday morning,
on
my way to work, I imagined that I'm like, do you know I can actually start walking to work if I leave home early enough?
And you described your house, but
it's not far. It's not far because there's this man that I see since last year. Is when I've noticed this man every morning when I'm coming to work.
Whoa.
I see him walking. I see him walking, and the funny thing is, at first I started noticing him around this part of our location. Yeah. Then now I see him around my side of town. Whoa. And I'm like, are you? So at first I imagined that maybe he's coming from this part of town, maybe the Felele axis, blah blah blah. Yeah. Then he just walks this way. Now he has changed his route to the whole ring road axis, and that's where. And I've been seeing him consistently that man is very consistent.
Wow.
Every morning, very early, very consistent. And I'm like,
And it helps a lot.
And then in my head, I'm like, I can actually do this. So maybe I should start walking to work every morning.
You can never.
So the only thing is. The only thing is I'll leave home earlier than I normally would. I'll leave home earlier than I normally would, and I make a routine. I start walking to the office.
And this show starts 6 a.m.
Yes, 6:30.
So you might need to leave like an hour before.
And get home and like get here. That I messed with that idea yesterday. Yeah. I messed with that idea yesterday. And I'm like, okay. I'll write it down somewhere. I'll see if I'll execute. I'll try it one day and see if it works for me.
Yeah.
But so to this lady who thinks that I don't like weight conversations around stuff like this when other people are telling you what your weight is like, it really pisses me off. Yeah. So it's a thing of you look at yourself. Am I healthy? Right? That's where it starts from. Are you healthy? Are you healthy? Would this increase my quality of life? That's what you should be doing it for. Not because you look a certain type of way.
Or yourself.
Not because somebody says that, you look... That thing, they bust my head. Because when I was 17, somebody told me that I look like a 27-year-old.
Whoa.
Till today, that thing rings in my brain.
Must be a guy.
It was a man. It was an older man for that matter.
I'm so sorry.
So, I was looking for admission and I had been at home for like maybe 2 years, and then I was like, I'm tired, I need to do something. And then my mom was like, okay, she knows somebody who I think was the director of Noun at the time, the one in Lagos. And so maybe I'll just go to Noun and then commute from home. So we went to like have a conversation with him. And he was like, why am I in a rush? And like, that he thought that it was, and when my mom said how old I was, he was like, he thought I was like 27, and that's why I was feeling pressured to like get into uni. So he didn't say it from a place of maybe like bad, but like the way he implied, God, I felt really, really bad.
Yeah.
And when I look back on pictures from me from that year, and I'm like, nah, I don't even have weight. My peak weight time was last year.
Yes, sir, yeah.
My peak weight was last year.
Because
even before last year, I didn't have that kind of weight.
Whoa.
To be honest. And I'm like, and then I would think back and I'd be like, oh my God, in my head, I'm like, I'm so fat, I'm so this. And then I look at pictures from then and I'm like, I was so, this was a mindset thing. Somebody had planted this in my head.
Yeah. And
I can't particularly remember where it came from now. But that was there. And then you know that when people see you and they would always comment on your weight.
Yeah.
So that is there's a rule that I go by. If they can't fix it in 3 minutes, don't point it out. They know. They know. Why are you pointing it out? If it is not something like, okay, maybe you have food stuck in your teeth, or maybe your dress is stained or something. If it is something that they cannot fix in 5 minutes or under, then keep your mouth shut.
I won't lie to you. TikTok really like this kind of content. I'm serious.
If it is not something that they can fix, then don't mention anything. So I think my friend over the weekend had a chipped tooth. I didn't say a word. And then later that night we were talking and then he's like, so my teeth. And I'm like, yeah, I saw, but I wasn't going to mention, like, I'm not going to raise it up. I know that you did not have a chipped tooth before. So I'm not going to now come and call your attention to it and make you feel because I know how I would feel if somebody said something about me that I didn't like. Like that I'm aware of and I'm working towards changing it. You have no idea the struggles. So keep your mouth shut. I really hope that she's listening this morning and she can pick something from this. My love, it's really all about you. Would it sort your quality of life? Would it then embark on that journey? If it is not for them but for you.
For you.
If it will increase and improve your quality of life, that's where you start from.
But you know, we live in an African society where we are communal, and then people just feel your business is theirs. And then the Western world is also to the extreme. My business is my business. So I think there's just a need to come to a compromise, like come to the middle, where you literally know when your business ends and when you can start up a conversation about somebody else's business, and not go to the extreme left or go to the extreme right.
I do agree. I do agree. But let's talk about disabilities now and the challenges that they often face and how we can do better as a people, as a society.
Okay, so I remember talking at a disability conference like 4 or 5 years ago, and my first line was, everybody's disabled.
I know they will know. The first thing they will shout now is God forbid.
And like I came in from the angle of mental health.
Yeah, totally.
And so I think everybody agreed that you may not be physically disabled, but mentally, in one way or the other, you have mental health challenges, and that could also qualify for a dysfunction. So if you just replace disability with dysfunction, so you will agree with me that everybody is suffering or dealing with one form of trauma, one form of dysfunction or the other. And so once we are able to come to that page, then we are on the same page. Then from there, we can now start conversation. So it won't be like they against us or like them against us. It's not going to be okay. Everybody talking together, trying to deal with their disabilities.
Well, the theme for this year, actually, let me find that. Let me find the theme for this year so we can actually open this more. I know that conversation around how we, as a people, we sort of do not make room for people who live with disabilities. You know, we don't see life through their lens, and we don't we don't make room for them in certain things, or we just assume, we lump them up together. And the one thing that I know they hate the most is to be pitied. They don't like that. They're humans too. Like, I mean, yes, I have a disability, and that doesn't mean that you have to treat me differently. I'm a human. Treat me like you would any normal person. And they really appreciate it when we do that, when we don't see them any different. And I know it can also be challenging, but what are some active steps or is it steps now? Is that the word? That we can do when we have them around us? Because I know that, okay, maybe people who already have them as family members or children or a parent, they already deal with this and they probably struggle as well. You know, so active steps, that's what I will stick with, that they can take to ensure that they're also including them and also taking care of themselves, because it can take a toll on their mental health as well, caring for somebody with disability.
Yeah, I think as relatives or as friends, we need to just know that everybody is suffering from one form of disability or the other, whether it's mental or physical. And in this case, of course, the obvious one is physical disability. So once we are able to come to that age, it now becomes very easy to show empathy. It becomes very easy to care for the other person. You will find out that you won't be able to pity the other person. Just as you are also not asking for people to, you're not also asking people to pity you. You're also not going to pity the other person. The thing is, we relate with people the way we relate with ourselves. So if we have issues relating with ourselves, we're going to have issues relating with other people. And we see people the way we see ourselves. So no matter how we go about it, is how we relate with people living with disabilities. We still come back to how we see ourselves. And so once we see that they have challenges, I have challenges, so I have to be there. So it becomes normal to be there for them. And it becomes normal also for me to be there for myself. And remember, you can't give what you don't have, you know. So it's the way you're going to accept people living with disabilities still comes back to the way you have been able to accept yourself. So the question is self-acceptance. Self-acceptance. Have you been able to accept yourself? And for people living with disabilities, instead of there's this mindset that one might also want to have, like, am I also accepted by the society? The thing is, self-acceptance should come before societal acceptance. And as a matter of fact, the society will not include you, will not accept you until you accept yourself. And as a matter of fact, for people living with disabilities, the question is, have you forgiven yourself? Because many people are aware of what led them to that in one way or the other, even if they were born with it. Some are even yet to forgive their parents, you know, even though their parents are not like directly responsible for disability. So some will still like have issues not forgiving their parents, because why did you bring me into this world?
That's a bit difficult though.
Very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. And it's okay to talk about it, like get a professional to be able to talk about it, or get an outlet to be able to talk about it.
Well, what about the societal stigma that comes with it?
Yeah, it still comes down to the understanding of what disability is. And being able to know that disability is a physical challenge, but we also have other forms of challenges.
Our challenges confess me, not them.
So is the way you are dealing with your own challenges, that's the way you're going to also look at the other person's the other person having physical challenges, you know. So, but once you are able to say, okay, challenges are normal and they are inevitable in life, you are able to sit comfortably with somebody on a wheelchair. And you are not feeling uncomfortable. And you're also not making that person feel uncomfortable. And the moment, and people can literally feel or sense the way you feel about them.
Because that's the thing. Because growing up, I didn't know what to do. You know that helpless state where you don't know what to, like, I don't know what to do. So I think they could always sense that. From
aura, you can always know. For us professionals, we know we can. It's very easy for us to know because we are supposed to know. Now, for people who are not professionals, they may not be able to put a name to it. They may not be that sensitive. It could be as small as there's something off about that guy, or I just feel that's the way he looks at me. And then your behavior and then your words, your attitude also gives you away. So you won't be able to hide it. But as long as you're able to accept your own self, accept your challenges, which is mental, not obvious to people, you're able to accept the other person's situation. In fact, you would have forgotten that the person is on a wheelchair. And then the person will feel comfortable more with you. And then from there, you can have very good relationship.
Thank you, Dr. Michaels. So we're still in the business of talking mental health issues right here on that 980 frequency with the celebrity Dr. Michaels. Yes. So I want us to touch on, accessibility to mental health services, especially for people living with disabilities and for people who also care for them. Because whether or not, we had a conversation off the radio when you came in about how 95% of how we live our life is affected by our programming. So as a person who's caring for somebody that lives with disability, they're also being affected, whether unknowingly or unknowingly, mostly unknowingly, because their subconscious is picking it up and it's prepping them for their reaction to the world. And so they they will definitely need to be able to keep that in check and also be able to confidently talk about the challenges and issues that they face in their lives. And of course, for the person living with a disability, the accessibility to mental health services as well.
Yeah, because when you're a caregiver or a family member to somebody who has physical disabilities, kind of like opens your eyes to the real version of life.
Hey.
And then it also helps you to come in contact with your real self. You're able to come in contact with your emotions, like raw. Because your emotions will literally go on like a woman having a period. Sorry, ladies, that was like strike 2.
You started with planting stuff and now, don't worry, today's your day. Have it. You can have it.
So like so you're able to come in contact with your emotions raw, and you're able to see how immature your emotional management is. So what you have been covering, you have been feeling like, everything is cool, but now you're able to see how real life is, and how someone can literally go through physical challenges, and then your mind starts cooking up lots of questions that you've never thought of before in your whole life. Then you start becoming very serious about life, like excessively serious about life, just because you have been prompted by what is happening around you. So having an outlet where you are able to like express yourself without being judged, and you are able to talk freely, will really, really help to boost your mental health, and that will now help you to become useful and help you to become useful to the person with physical disability.
How about themselves, the person living with that disability?
They are going to go through a lot of, should I say, roller coaster, like different kinds of emotion and thoughts will start coming out in their mind, like why me? Why am I why do I seem like the only person around here that has this kind of challenge? Why not them? Why me? So and then people will, especially people who are born with it, will also find it difficult forgiving their parents. Like, why did you bring me into this world? So there are all sorts of both realistic and non-realistic questions that will come up. And they will have to be real with them. They will have to be real with those questions and those emotions and let them out. So that's why seeing a mental health professional will really, really help. To help you to confront your emotions. You might feel as if everything is cool, but it's when you start opening up that you now get to see how your thoughts are and how your emotions are.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. Very, very interesting. It makes me think about the part where, as a person who lives with disability in such a way, having to deal with the stigma that comes from society, having to deal with maybe because emotions are very erratic sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And there are days when that's why the person caring for you, it could just be an off day,
Yeah.
and they cannot keep those emotions to themselves, and maybe they lash out, and that makes you internalize that, and it just does more damage to what you're already logging around. It's quite a challenge.
Yeah.
And one thing I would want to hear typically is when they are in positions as such, when they're in positions as such that, oh look, maybe it was a difficult day for this person, and now you're sat with yourself alone. You've internalized a lot of these things, and it's making you feel some type of way. And it's oftentimes in that mindset of, oh, I want to end it all. What would you say is the way for them to bring themselves back and put those thoughts at bay? Because sometimes intrusive thoughts are ridiculous. I used to have them a lot. And I found out that, yes, that whole conversation around stress is really real. When my intrusive thoughts are at a peak, in retrospect, after reflecting on some of those periods when I'm literally standing on the side of the road, and I'm walking in front of a truck, I literally would be telling, I have to tell myself, what are you thinking? Why would you think about walking in front of a moving truck or moving? Why are you doing that?
Very real.
So, and I just have to okay, remind myself and cast it out. So for some people, they're lucky they have that kind of strength, but some they don't. So what's that thing that they can do to bring themselves back into the moment and calm the intrusiveness that comes into their mind to do certain ridiculous things? Because I've seen where some people often try to take their own lives.
Yeah. Do you know that what makes mental health very fun is how gullible the mind is? It can literally believe a lie. And if it believes a lie, and the lie happens to be what you desire, confidence will rise up. So you want to be deliberate and intentional about what you listen to, the people in your environment. Now that we have a lot of podcasts, you can literally just plug yourself, maybe a whole day, just say podcast day, maybe a Tuesday, or maybe a Wednesday. So that literally conditions the invisible environment around you. And so regardless of if your caregivers are not in the right mental health space, you are in the right mental health space. And you are now able to even help them be in their own right mental health space. And the moment they get to see that even you are in the right mental health space, they will be more relaxed. They will be able to help you more. They would also be able to accept what is happening to this other person, that is what is happening to you. And so that helps you. So because at the end of the day, it still comes back to, this is my life. This is not my sister's life. This is not my brother's life. And I've got to accept it. Okay, so I'm already alive. So what should I do? And the number one thing you need to do is you want to be deliberate about what comes into your ears and what you see. You want to really control what comes through your five senses. Once you're able to do that, your mind then responds. So it will now prevent you from reacting to life. What you don't want to do is to react.
I totally agree.
It's more like pouring salt into, there's already an injury. You now put salt. So every other person can maybe play with reaction, but you can't afford to play with reaction. You need a lot of response. And to be able to do that, you really need to trick your mind. This one is not, should I lie to? You need to lie to your mind.
Very important.
You need to.
You need to lie to your mind. You need to feed it positive things.
But you also need to, first of all, determine what exactly do I want out of that. Okay, they have given back to me. Okay, this has happened already. So what do I want from now? You can literally make a list, bring out a biro or a pen or your phone and spend the whole day just brainstorming with yourself. The truth of the matter is, no matter how they care for you, it's still your life.
You're the only person who can really care for yourself. Interesting. Thank you so much, Dr. Michaels. This was such an insightful conversation. It was really great. I look
Thank
forward
you.
to seeing you next week Tuesday,
Same
but
here.
hopefully with Daniel in the house. And when he returns, I mean, we shall be talking about his escapades in another man's land. I want to hear all the gist. I mean, I try as much as possible. But right now, it's a rigorous time for him. I've told him that his brain is going to be removing smoke by the time he gets back.
Can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah, we miss it. Thank you so much again, Dr. Michaels.
Yeah.
And happy new month!
Yeah, that's true.
Happy holidays.
Same to you.
Merry Christmas in advance.
Yeah.
I am expecting my Christmas presents. Thank you very much.
All right, bye.
Bye. All right. There you have it. We'll be back. Oh my God. I was just going to say, to find Dr. Michaels, you can find him on social media at Dr. Michaels, TikTok, Instagram, everywhere. X, it's Dr. Michaels. And you can also send a text message to his line, right? Text only, no calls. 081-686-20618. 0816-862-0618. That's his text line. And you can send a WhatsApp message to 0707-587-5764. 0707-587-5764. Thank you again, Dr. Michaels. Look forward to seeing you. You can find all these videos on QLM. I think QLM Studios on Profile Africa on Instagram and YouTube. Again, this is such an honor.